What's
Us.
what's everyone? Trust everyone's well. Welcome to the Japan Chronicles. Sensei Pat here. Shihan Sean in Japan. Shihan, how are you, mate?
Good, good, good. Yeah, you'll be glad to know that the weather's a lot better now. I think it's
Okay.
26 degrees today. So
Well, an exciting episode, revealing a positive note from Shihan there with the weather because we're off to Japan tomorrow. I'm off to Japan
exactly.
tomorrow for 5, 6 days, I think it is.
Mhm.
An exciting time ahead, and I guess it's just an open chat to catch Shihan before I see him in Japan. But we're sharing a couple of things this episode, and again with the Japan Chronicles with Shihan on the floor there. Um, I tell you what, I've recapped this in the past, Shian, where when
Mhm.
we first met,
Yeah,
and it was a lot. We say it respectfully. It was a long time ago.
yeah,
In that 04, 05 period. I
yeah. It's gone
one
on. Yeah,
one
close to 20
that
years.
was my first trip over there to Fukui,
Right.
and I'm not sure if you were part of that one, but that was my very first one. I went as a
Right.
brown belt, and what I'm alluding to here is when you go as the foreigner, as the Gaijin, you go over, and the language is phenomenal. It's a beautiful language, but it's just another world, right? And
Yeah,
we've all gone with the contingent, meaning the other Shians, my peers, your peers, and you feel that they've got a good grasp of how to communicate. We speak the language in the dojo to an extent,
mm,
and
mhm.
then we get there, or when I got there, and mate, it is total different writing, obviously, total different pace.
Yeah,
It's just another world, Tokyo, and then from Tokyo, you are then working your way out of the airport to your hotel or to your next destination because it is just levels upon levels upon levels and
yeah.
for those that are listening, the ones when you get there, it is just it's 10 hours from Melbourne, Shiam, so we have a nice direct flight there.
Hmm.
But I think this is my seventh time there, which is
Right.
2016 was last hurrah. And then we had the disruptions that stopped us from going every 2 years or 3 years like we usually did. But, you know, in getting there, and then when we met Xian Sean, and when I saw him from afar, because he was supporting the Xians, interpreting, but I didn't know what it was to begin with. Xian, I was
Right,
there
right,
going, oh,
right.
okay, I think we've got some help here from this bloke, you know,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and your Japanese was just next level, and I maneuvered in a bit, and I'm like, oh, he's not just helping us. He's running the, or like he's really helping us. This wasn't just an average Joe Blow going, oh, you want to get to that? Oh, you probably got to go that way, or it was
Yeah,
none of
yeah.
that.
No,
It
no, I
was
was part of the
guys,
crew.
get your
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
together, register, or all these things were happening. And Xian, this is again another opportunity for you. Hey, you've got some responsibilities for this upcoming All Japan tournament.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm heading up on Saturday
Okay.
and there through until Monday evening. And we're originally going to have some fighters from New Zealand taking part, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, due to injuries and what have you, they're not able to come out this time. But still, I'll get a chance to talk about future sort of relationships with everyone there as well. But I mean, and I've told this story before, but just to put it very
Yeah.
succinctly, Hasegawa, when he was known as Hasegawa Shihan, was my Shihan here in Japan. And so I spent a lot of time with him. Uh, yeah, we got to meet through that when it was part of the union. And so when the union had their first World Cup, Union Cup, so Hasegawa Shihan said, look, uh, we'll need you to be on the floor, running around,
Yeah.
making sure I mean, we could do a few episodes on a few stories I got there, but
Sure.
it might be for restricted viewing, some of the drinking sessions and that went on. But I think what you were talking about before, yeah, the language. And with Japan or with any country, the culture behind it, all
Yeah.
the do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
I've spent 30 years here, so I don't really think about it. I'm not too conscious of
No.
it now, just going onto autopilot. But when I get a chance to interpret or help people communicate a bit better, I realize, like you were saying, the Shihans from around the world, invest a lot of time coming to Japan on a regular basis, having Japanese instructors out. So, while there might be a language barrier,
Sure.
the commonality is that everyone speaks the language of Kyokushin, and that gets us by,
Yeah.
even when there's a bit of communication breakdown in terms of linguistic stuff. And my sort of role there, for a long time, was to make sure that things were clear and concise. So when I interpreted, what I really tried to do, I wasn't just interpreting what was being said word for word. I was trying to sort of, get across the deeply embedded message. And sometimes with Japan, that's a task in itself, because the Japanese sort of communication style, it's not what's said so much as what's not said. They leave a lot in communication terms. It's called a high context, where they rely a lot on the non-verbal.
Okay.
They do a lot of reading between the lines, or they'll leave bits of information out because, well, everyone knows what I'm talking about when I say, what that thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it can be a bit ambiguous, but when you're interpreting, you've got to sort of then say, well, no, when I put this into English, okay, I've got to add a couple of buffers there
Yep.
to make sure it gets across. So it wasn't just stock standard interpreting. It was, okay,
Yeah.
here's the goal of the meeting or this conversation. Okay, how do I put it across in a way that makes sense to the person receiving the message? And so I've got this time round, I was going as a guest representing New Zealand, Mock NZ in New Zealand, etc., and so forth, and then talking with Nitsu Shihan. He said, "Oh, yeah, Hasegawa Soshi is looking forward to meeting you again, because it's been a while since I've seen him." And he says, "By the way," I thought, oh, here we go. And he says, well, because they would have had some interpreters
Sure.
on standby. However, when he knew I was coming, he said, "Oh, yeah, well, Soshi wants you to interpret here and there. Like during the tournament, there'll be certain things maybe it's his speech, or
Yep.
it might be conversations." He goes, "You'll still have time to support whoever you want to support and
Yep.
have, enjoy the tournament itself." He said, "But we're going to ask you to do that." And I said, "Yeah, no worries, that's fine." And he said, and then also at the reception after the tournament, he goes, "We'll want
Yeah.
you to do something there." And I said, "Yeah, I pretty much guessed that."
Yeah.
So you'll see me running around like a headless chicken at times. Other times I'll be a bit more relaxed and I'll come and support you in your fight. And if there's
Yeah.
anything going
Cool.
on, I'll be sort of floating around the place.
Now,
Hopefully, a chance to sit down and reconnect with some people as well. And
yeah.
obviously, the higher ranked Shihans will probably drag me here, there, and everyone say, "Oh, Sean, I've got you here. Can you ask
Well,
this? Can you say that?"
it's such again, if I've had the fortune of seeing you, doing this, and
Mhm.
but Xian's being very humble in his explanation here, but it is a task. It is
Oh,
as hard as fighting, guys, because you are
yeah.
when in seeing Xian Sean doing this, he wants what's best, right?
Mm.
That's kind of also the key to his responsibility on the
Yeah,
day.
I mean, it's intercultural communication, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
not just stock standard interpreting. I want to make sure people are finding that middle ground,
Yeah.
and we're all aiming for the same thing, and that is to come together to either train together, to fight, each other in a tournament, or to grade together, or whatever it might be. So I see my role in those kind of things as a bridge,
Yeah.
between, or a link pin. Link pin's probably a better way to explain it,
Yeah.
trying to link the two cultures and say, well, here's where you've got a common ground, middle
Yeah.
ground. And that's not the stock standard approach to interpreting, but for me, I kind of take it one step further. But I'm very try to keep aware of that I'm not stepping on anyone's toes. There's all the etiquette behind the Japanese communication style that I've got to be aware of. But after doing it for so many years,
Yes.
it's pretty much second nature now. But yeah, like you say, people watching from the sidelines will go, "How the hell does he do that?"
Yeah.
You can ask Nick as well.
Yeah.
He does it brilliantly as
Oh yeah.
well. But the common thing that links us all is that we're all speaking the language of Kyokushin, and I think
Yes.
that's a skill everyone has, and that gets you by, a lot
Yeah.
of the times, because we've learnt those rules of respect and etiquette
Yeah.
in the dojo, and we just take it out of the dojo, and we sort of use
Nice
those
reminder.
skills in day-to-day
It,
conversations, and that's the way you build relationships. Yeah.
it is a good reminder, and I always give, there's about 25 to 30 Aussies heading over tomorrow,
Mm,
right? And we obviously we are using the word, united as a team here, and
mm,
we're very big on that, or because we tend to forget that.
mm,
And I'm not talking on behalf of others. I'm kind of talking on behalf of me and the way I've come through. And when we see the other countries, at the hotel or on the bus or going somewhere, I was brought up with that, with the basketball background, and team together and team united and team, the whole thing was team. There was no,
yeah.
and because there's so many of us heading over, we want everyone to be safe. We want everyone to be together, understand, the rules, the etiquette, not just of karate, but of day to day, the day to day
Yeah.
of, you
Yeah.
know, don't think you can drop rubbish on the ground there. Don't think you can leave something, or it's not. You
Yeah.
got to
Yeah.
be respectful as well. And it's automatic upon getting off the plane and going to customs. It is straight away. I get into that. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
falling into something, and I'm like, oh yes, here we go. You know,
Well, the wonderful thing about it is that, and I think one of the great things about Japan is that people are just so caring in their own
yeah,
way. They're great hosts,
right,
and they're expected to be. And you can't take that for granted, but you can enjoy it. But we've all learnt those, different sort of expressions of politeness just in our mannerisms and
right,
that. And if we show the same respect, it doesn't matter what language barrier is there. Your feeling, your genuine feeling of gratitude
right.
and respect and all of those things come through. So I mean, yeah, like this word team, right? If you look at team as an acronym, so it's spelled TEAM, right?
Mhm.
Together, T, everyone, E, achieves A, more. Okay,
Right.
if you think about
Yep.
it that way,
Yeah.
if everyone comes together and they put their egos to a side and forget about who's what rank and what have you,
Okay.
but they go as a team, and that
Mm.
your behavior impacts on the rest of the team. And that's a big
Right.
thing in Japan is groupism, that it's not the be all and end all of everything we do here, but your actions will
Mm.
sort of affect the team's image. So
Correct.
if you're being genuinely polite and even if you make some cultural sort of,
Errors.
errors, it doesn't matter as long as people see there's a genuine effort being made. So you don't need to walk in, on, broken glass and sort of tiptoe around. You can be yourself, but the pleases and the thank yous. And if all else fails, just say us. That'll get you through everything in the
Yeah. Right.
Kyokushin world.
Yeah.
If all else fails, just say that. But when you go out to the shop, you can't say us because no one understands it.
No.
But if you've got a smile on your face and you say thank you, or you say arigato or whatever,
Yeah.
that just makes their day because
Positive.
everyone is coming together here to make sure it's the best tournament and the best time possible for everyone within Japan and outside of Japan. So, I'll be doing that at the tournament and at the reception. And then I think on the Monday, you've got your grading from the afternoon
Correct.
at Honbu.
Yeah.
So, but before that, actually, Yui Shihan is running a international seminar. Well, he's called it an international seminar now because a lot of people coming over the tournament said, "Oh, can we do a training session
Yeah.
with you?" So there was another phone call. So Yui Shihan got in contact with me and he goes, "Sean, you're going to be up for the tournament, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes." And he says, "You're going to be there on Monday?" And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Well, I've actually booked Honbu from about 10 to 1:30. or 10:30 to 1:30. He goes,
Right.
I was going to run a session anyway because I'm going to be in town, but a whole group of people from, those coming from overseas want to come to it as well. And he goes, can I? And I said, yeah, I'll be there. I'll interpret. I finished the sentence for him.
So
So
is he charging
I'll
for
be
that out of interest? Because I'm sure
Yeah,
people
he
listen to
is.
this.
He's charging 10,000 yen because of the cost of hiring the
Approximate
vendors.
100 Australian dollars. Yep, fair
Yeah,
enough.
yeah, yeah.
Yep, yep. Hey, that.
So so I'll be doing that. So I'll be on the floor with him, with
Oh
the
wow.
people participating in that from 10:30 to 1:30. And then I guess you guys get there at about 2 or whatever. I mean, I guess he'll wind down about 1. So I'll already be at Honbu in the morning anyway. So that's my Monday sorted. Then, the grading, I'll just sit back and watch, the journey that you're all gonna,
Very cool.
take on. So, and that leads me to another thing,
Yeah,
for the tournament or for the grading itself, you guys have done all the hard work. Now it's a chance to just put that aside. You've done the hard work. Everyone should feel confident. This is a display of, what you have polished over the years.
correct.
But my advice to anyone in the tournament or in the grading, and it's easier said than done
Of
because
course.
nerves get in the way, but I would say to everyone, and this is something I learned, I guess it was subconscious for a long time, but especially with my involvement in high performance stuff with the Rugby World
Yeah,
Cup in 2019 here,
yeah,
one of the big messages in the Scottish team, and I guess this has come from what they've learned from the All Blacks in New Zealand and other international teams, in a high performance situation, and that's what a tournament and a grading is, you've got to try to do two things. One is just be in the now. And this is what they talk about, being in the now. So don't be 5 minutes prior
yep,
to where you are now. So whatever's done is done. Don't be thinking 2 or 3 minutes ahead. Just think about where
yep,
you are right in the now. And with the grading, and I don't need to tell you because you've done, you know, many gradings leading up to this, so you can call on that experience. But for the less experienced, just focus on what you're being asked to do there and then.
mm,
And don't think, oh shit, I've got kata coming up now,
yeah,
I've got fights coming up. Let that happen when it happens. Just try and have that mindset going in. Just enjoy each single moment for what it is, and don't think too far ahead, or don't go traveling back into the past,
yeah.
because you can't change the past and you can't control what's coming next
Great point.
if you're not actually leading the grading. So that's a mental state to be
And
in.
in that reminder, it
Yeah.
the what's the word I'm looking for? The cool thing that I get to do is I get to participate and compete on the Sunday. Now that just doesn't happen. You
Mm.
had to train and help the others, and then I get to coach. And that's a big thing for me that I've always been wanting to do. And coach meaning got a couple of the
Mm.
other fighters, got a couple of it, so I get to do that. Then I get to catch up with you, catch up with others, enjoy, less stressed in a way, because I
Yeah.
get to, do that as well. Now in a fighting hat, we place that for a minute. So like you said, if you're experienced, you get to understand it. So I've been interpreting, or I've been sharing my knowledge and experience to the two or two have never been international fought in Japan. So I'm
Right.
sharing what I've come across. Now, have a listen to these little things that you might go, oh my God, yeah, these things are crucial. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're catching a bus early, 7 a.m. So a lot of time and effort is already starting to zap you.
Yeah.
You just got to get to the train. You
Getting
got to get the
drained. Yeah.
bus. It's an hour away, and it starts to break you down in regards to your nerves, because you're seeing other countries, other delegates, other people, and you're like, oh shit, here we go. All right, it's happening. And that alone on an energy level starts to zap you. You register, you check in. So I'm walking through this process because
Mm.
when we had our first one or two, you're like, oh shit, oh shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
so you walk there, then you start understanding the walk on is 10 a.m., something like that, 9 o'clock, 10 a.m. So you're going to then see other fighters, other people, and then the zone starts to kick in. We haven't even competed yet. We're 3 hours into the day, 4 hours into the day, and you're already starting to feel the whoa, and then you're starting to feel other people's energy. You know,
Yeah.
your teacher, your mentors, your seniors are walking past. How you feeling? How you going? Oh, good, I guess. I think it's all going okay, and we haven't even thrown a punch yet.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you start hearing the bags getting hit, bang, bang, and you're like, what the fuck? And it's the Iran team, the Russian
Yeah.
team,
Yeah.
whichever team is just starting to warm up, and they're going in. Then there's no, and then all of a sudden the planning of what we have said. Sometimes fighters can go into a oh
Just
shit.
start
It's like,
looking
no, no,
around.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Focus. Stay in the zone. Stay in your world. We'll warm up. Yeah. And then we warm up. Then less energy. More, it still continues that. What time's your fight? Understand how far away it is. How long do you want to warm up before? All these intricacies. And the biggest one that sneaks in is I think on Sunday, Shihan, there's going to be more than one, obviously more than one mat. There's going to be 3 or 4
Yeah.
mats in this venue. It's a
Just the sheer scale of it. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we're just
Yeah.
going to be pushing through and it'll push through. They are so diligent with it, like it is boom 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 boom, next. Now you line up, they'll line you up three potentially 3 fights in
Yeah.
advance. You'll be and so that equals at times it's equaled for me once 20-25 minutes before I get on, and I'm sitting there. So I've warmed up, temperature's good, feeling good, but then you're not really warming up as such. You're just waiting. You have to be patient. You
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
That zaps you. That takes a lot out. So then you get to compete. Then it's 2 to 3 minutes. Boom, done.
Mm.
Win, great, move on. Lose, what the hell's just happened? How did
Happened.
that
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've been positioning that from that fighting angle. Then let's just skip a little bit into grading and sharing with others. I've got family and friends going, how the hell, how do you manifest all this? And I'm sharing it now.
Mm.
Then we get to grading, right? So grading is another level. We got to prepare your body now for 3, 4, 5 hours of continuous motion. So you
Mm.
are
Mm.
now not chewing up everything in one go. You've got to balance. We could
Yep.
be doing
You got to pace yourself right.
a
Yeah.
hundred of something per technique, which is on average 30 odd techniques. There could be 50 to 100 on average of each technique just in Kihon that can last 50 minutes with everyone else pushing. So if there's someone that's stronger, fitter, or wants to go faster, you don't need to keep the pace with them. You got to
No. No.
balance your pace. You've got to weather the storm as such of everyone right at the start going, okay, here
Yeah.
we go. Oh, and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't
Feel
gas
that
out too
out,
fast. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Feel that out, but don't go too slow. Don't let
Oh.
Soshi and the bosses and yourselves go, hold on a sec, is he cruising here? There'll be
Yeah.
no
Yeah. Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've still got to measure that. Then, like you said, stay in that moment, then work to the next block. We have a drink break,
Yeah.
then what's the next thing? Okay, kata. Okay, we've worked through it. We apply everything now. Stay in your zone. Stay in your zone. Someone goes fast, steady, because the count happens and then the no count happens. So we got to balance that again. Then we got to
Yeah.
fitness, and then all these things come into effect, is my point, where all of a sudden the trip to Japan just kind of goes, because
Yeah.
so much is happening, so much in this
There's so much packed in, and it's
front
not
there.
just the physical; it's the mental as well.
Correct.
And I mean that that's another thing, is that you've got to be able to read the mental state you're in, and that's where you can fall back on your experience. And it doesn't matter
Sure.
what grade you are. If you're a graded, Kyokushin karateka, you've been through a grading before, so you know what to expect. So the important thing there is to be able to read your emotions,
Right.
and again, going back to another high performance thing, um, there's a state of red and there's a state of blue, and red is your pure emotion, and are you seeing too much red? That means, are you letting your emotions sort of drive you? And then if you're getting too emotional about it, that's where you'll gas out, or you'll
Sure.
try too hard. And I'm not talking about cruising, but doing the best you can at a pace that the grading panel's happy with, but you're not overexerting, so you're going to sort of fade out later on. And that's where the blue comes in, where you actually sort of um,
Mm.
put words onto your emotions, like, oh, am I going too hard, too fast? You've got to partition your brain a little and talk to yourself now and again. That brings you back into the now. Say, oh, okay, look, I'm getting too overwhelmed by this. And to go back to the tournament, like you were saying, when you're lined up, piece of advice is, or when you're warming up, yeah, have your conversations. If people are asking you how you are, just say, us, good, yeah. But have some music, have something, even when you get on the bus in the morning,
Yeah.
you know, just stay in your own
Yeah.
little bubble. Like if that means, having a playlist that relaxes you,
Yeah.
music, something, you don't need to be chatting all the way. You don't need to look at other people kicking the pads. You just need to be a bit selfish and
Yeah.
worry about yourself
Correct.
because it's all about you and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
When you work, when you're sort of going around as a team, yeah, that's where the team mentality comes in. But there are times where you're an individual. What relaxes you as an individual? During the grading, same thing, that what's done is done. Yeah, I'm happy with what I'm doing, or this is where the language side of your brain comes in. Oh, okay, maybe I'm just trying a bit too hard. Slow yourself down, Pat. Slow yourself down.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Nice.
Or even with each fight that you've got in your grading. Okay, just think about that fight. Don't think I've got 40 to do.
Mm.
Just think, okay, this is who's in front of me.
Yes.
All right. They'll tell me when to start, they'll tell me when to finish. Other than that, all I need to focus on is what's happening here and now. And then once that's done, forget about it. Next,
Yeah.
next, next. And before you know it,
Yeah.
have those little conversations with yourself. Before you know it, it's done.
I,
And so enjoy. Then you got time after that to reflect. And as Source
correct.
always used to say, self-reflection or self-contemplation
Agree.
in the martial arts is a chance for future improvement. Don't do that straight away. Do that after everything's finished.
Yeah.
Even in the tournament, if you're successful and you keep going into
Yeah.
the upcoming rounds, great. If you don't, that's still an experience that
Yeah.
later on you can look back at it
I
there
think,
and then, just say, okay, it's done. Now I'm going to go and support someone else. Now
yeah.
I'm going to enjoy watching the other fights.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just sort of try and get into a relaxed mental state. And as I said, it's easier said than done, and our
Yeah.
emotions get in the way. But if you can have those conversations with yourself now and again, then you don't put too much
Mm.
or unnecessary expectation and pressure on
Mm.
yourself. And that's where you can get drained, like you're saying, when you
Yeah.
get caught up in what's around you.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up what's around, just look at what's in front of you,
Yeah.
So
Great point, Shihan. And I think we underestimate is the word I use. We underestimate all these things in
mm,
regards to the benefits. You've raised the
yeah,
benefits of this, and we as a collective in Kyokushin, get to travel interstate or overseas, wherever you are. And because so much is happening, you have all these moments that you're trying to tick off, but
yeah,
there is so many other benefits that come away from this. And
mm,
there are what's the word I'm looking for? There are students that are coming that aren't even in the tournament or in the grading. There are students coming to experience this, to
great.
open their eyes. And I think it's another value that we have in Kyokushin that, again, we underestimate that there are blue belts, yellow belts, green belts that are coming from our team to go.
Yeah,
I can't wait to just see this, and it just changes your whole life and perspective of acknowledging the benefits. And I think what I'm
yeah,
sharing here with everyone is we that have been in the game for a while kind of go, yeah, well, yeah, you'll debrief after, yeah, you did all right, yeah, and it's like, hold on,
yeah, yeah,
this is a milestone. These are positive things, and I can't. I say positive energy is contagious because
yeah.
it bounces off. It continues on. If when I see you doing what you're doing, or I see someone else doing what they're doing, and it's great, I get on a high as well.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And I think, I've got to go in a minute. I've got a meeting
Okay.
to run
Oh
to,
yeah, sorry.
and this was just a
We're on our 1 hour
pre-departure
rant.
catch up. But what I will say is that no matter what your role is in the trip coming up, whether you're coming from a different region in Japan or
Yep.
coming from a different country,
Yep.
and whether you, like you said, you've got people as support
Mm,
team members, right? All of this experience is going to add to
mm,
the osino seishin within you. that spirit of perseverance. Not just if you're not going on the mat, who cares? You have invested the time and energy to get here to experience the whole package. And then you'll get to sort of dismantle that later on. And that's going to add to your future goal setting. That experience
Absolutely.
may hit you a bit later on. And you say, actually, that person really motivated me the way they did this or that.
Yeah.
I had the chance to see it.
Yeah.
Or I had a chance to do it. It doesn't matter whether you're just observing or whether you're right in the mix of it. That experience, no matter what the result, you're going to be better for it. And it's going to add to that spirit of perseverance later on, because it's going to act as a driver in your future sort of ambitions of
Yeah.
where you want to go with your Kyokushin, because everyone's Kyokushin, there are commonalities, but you've also got your own Kyokushin within that. What do how do you want to sort of develop moving forward? So no matter what your role
Great
in
reminder.
this upcoming trip is, have a chance later on to debrief and say, what did I get out of it? And
Yeah.
you'll find, like you said, that positive sort of reflection is going to pay dividends in the end. But anyway, sorry to cut this short. We just
No,
we said let's get on to a quick one.
all good.
Safe travels here to everyone coming over. Look forward to meeting up with everyone. Look forward to supporting you, Pat,
Yes.
in not only on the mat, but whatever I can do to help
Yes.
on the tournament day, and also a grading day. I'll be in the sidelines shout out, and might even pop in for a sneaky fight or two if they
Oh,
let me.
Jesus Lord.
Us,
Thank you, Shihan. I'll quickly finish
us,
off with thanks to everyone's support. We will touch base in Japan, hopefully, in
us.
regards to an episode here. But my thank you is the saying that I've said, one in, all in. There's been a lot of people that have contributed to everyone's training across other groups and tournaments like this. But everyone's got their hands on everyone's trips and successes as such. So a big thank you to everyone. Thanks to all the listeners, and a big us to you all. Keep training hard, and we'll see you soon, Shihan. Us.
Us. We'll try and record something in Japan and put it up
Yeah.
as well.
See
Us.
you guys.
Us. Okay. See
Us.
you in a couple of days, mate. Us. Thank you.